societies, both of the debating societies have debated all over the world. This is James Payne and Anna Haber from the Rollins College Debating Society. We have debated in China, we have debated in Taiwan, we've debated in France, we've debated in England, and of course we've debated other places, and we visited our friends last December to debate in their debating competition in Jamaica. So we've debated all over the world. But before I tell you more about the Rollins College Debating Society and what we'll do today, I want to introduce the Jamaican Debating Society, and I'll turn it over to Jermaine Barrett, who's the director of that debating society, and he'll introduce his team. Let's hear it for Jermaine. Here, here.
All right, so again, I'm Jermaine Barrett. I'm from Jade. If you can't remember the long name, just call us by Jade. And we have debaters here with us from Jamaica. We have Said Bernard, Said Wave. Said is from the largest university back in Jamaica, the University of the West Indies, more in the Caribbean actually. Yeah, so he feels good about that. Yeah, something to be proud of, I guess. And we have Onika Nevins. He is from the Northern Caribbean University, another university. Alright, so I'm no longer in school. That's good. So I work at the University of Technology in Jamaica, and together we're representing the Jamaican Association for Debating and Empowerment. And we're very, very happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Okay, so you are a legal magnet school, is that correct? So we're going to tell you something about the law as we debate. So we're going to weave in law, we're going to weave in education, and we're going to weave in debating. Before we get started, I want the debaters each to take a table. So debaters find the table, hang out at the table. So debaters, all the debaters find the table. The table that you'll be at is the table you'll consistently go to. Oh, that's Sarah. That's Sarah. All right, yeah, go ahead. Me? Yeah, everybody find the table.
How are you?
Yeah, you one debater to one table. Okay, so we got one. Okay, so I'll take these two tables. Alright, move the tables together. Move the tables together, we're through. Okay, great. So the first question we have is, what is debating and why do we engage in debating? And since we're at a middle school, we're going to weave in the question of education, debating, and why engage in it. So does anybody have any ideas? What is debating? Any hands? Yes, what is debating? Good, that's excellent. Say that out loud so your schoolmates can hear you.
Arguing about one side.
Okay, debating is when you have at least two people arguing different sides of an issue. Yes? Do we agree? Yes. Good. So that's debating. There you go. Do we agree? Let's hear it. Okay. And so we're going to give you an issue, and we're going to sort of talk you through it, and then the debaters are going to give you a demonstration of what debating is. Before we give you the issue, I want to know, can you tell me, why is it that we engage in this strange activity where we have two people arguing back and forth with one another? Ooh, he has all the answers. Look at this. Oh, I'm sorry. Says almost the answers. Tell us. Why do we have people arguing about sides? Why do we engage in this?
Well, instead of fighting with the hand, we could fight with the words.
Ooh, let's hear it! See that? So, instead of fighting with your hands, you'll fight with your words. And you live in a country called a democracy, yes? Who knows what democracy is? Hands up if you know what democracy is. Hands up. Oh, yes. Tell us, what is a democracy? Okay. Good. A democracy is a particular type of voting system where everybody gets a vote. Yes? All right, we like this. I'm sorry? Good. So we have people who represent us in the big group where everybody will vote. And notice, will the representatives agree or disagree? They'll disagree. So we'll have two representatives, as we were told over here, arguing both sides of some issue in front of a bunch of other people who will have to vote on the issue. Yes? So one reason why we engage in debating is because we disagree with one another about how we might go about a particular issue. And as we were told, instead of fighting with one another with our hands, we fight with our words. And then the people who are listening to us will make a decision about which side has the better argument for moving forward. And then they will vote in that direction, and that determines what the democracy will do. Yes?
Here, here.
Here, here. Who likes democracy? Let's hear it. This group's ready. This group's ready. Okay. So that's why we engage in debate. So now you might be wondering, okay, I understand why we engage in debate. I understand what a democracy is. I understand what it is to debate. But there's more. You might want to know, why is it that I am in school? And what has that got to do with debating, having different sides, taking votes in a democratic system? Can anybody tell me? What has school got to do with debating, taking sides, and voting in a democratic society? Anybody? Where are those hands? Who wants some? Who wants some? Where's my where's my crew? Okay. What has school got to do with this? We need to give out some A's in here. Yes? Let's hear it. Let's hear it. You are in school so that you can learn how to debate, so that you can learn how to fight with your words instead of your hands, so that you can grow up and become representatives, so that you can take votes on different issues and determine how the society will go. To put it in another way, we are training you to be citizens of a democratic society. And that's why school is incredibly important. And we are training you to debate your ideas to help convince others that your side is the best to represent the democracy so that when people vote, they vote along with your side, and that's how the democracy will go. We're going to give you a demonstration of that today. So keep in mind, democracy presumes that people will disagree. Democracy presumes that when people disagree, they will argue back and forth with one another about the best way to go. It presumes that there will be a vote about the disagreement, and all of that, the entire process, disagreeing, arguing back and forth, voting, moving forward after the vote, is what we call politics. Yes? Let's hear it. Let's hear it. And when the society goes well, we do the democratic process over and over and over again, and we get better at it, and our institutions are better for it. So that's what we're up to here. You all are a law magnet school. So many of you will go on to be lawyers. Some of you will go on to be politicians. All of you will go on to be members of a democratic society. All of you will have the ability to vote at age 18. Yes. You all like voting? And so today, we're going to give you a practice of that entire process. You will be voting. You will be arguing back and forth about your sides. You will be attempting to convince those people at your table. The people who are in jackets at your tables, the people who represent the debating society at your tables, will help facilitate that process of arguing ideas back and forth, helping you come to an agreement, helping you vote about what you'll see happen on the stage. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Let me hear it again. Does that make sense to you? Yes. So, the first topic that we will debate about is the United States of America should ban, wait for it, fast food. Hamburgers, milkshake, french fries, chicken McNuggets, they're out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about McDonald's, Burger King, they're out of here. They gotta stay? She said they gotta stay. She said she don't care, they gotta stay. They gotta go. They gotta go. Okay, they don't have to go. They said no. They don't have to. Who says they got to go? Some of you were saying they gotta go. But others of you are saying, no, they gotta stay. Let's hear it. They gotta stay. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll have the debaters offer you arguments on both sides. They gotta stay. They gotta go. They gotta stay. They gotta go. And then we will come out into the audience, we'll resume our table, we will listen to what each of you have to say on your tables, at your tables, about whether or not they should stay or go. At the end of that discussion, your tables will take votes. But remember, you are members of a democratic society, and you have to make a judgment about where the society should go. So it's not just about you, but about your society. And it's not just about what you think, but also about what other people think. So you have to take a step back, consider the arguments that will be presented to you, think about them, listen to the people at your table, and then make an informed decision. Are we ready to have ourselves a debate?
Yeah!
pleasure to call to the stage the Rollins College debating team. Let's hear it for Rollins. And the challenging team to Rollins College is the Jamaican Association for Debating and Empowerment, better known as Jade. Let's hear it for Jade. The resolution for this round, you've heard it once, you've heard it twice, I'll say it again. The United States of America should ban all fast food. Arguing in favor of the resolution that the United States of America should ban all fast foods is team composition, Rollins College. It's team opposition, Jade, to make it really positive. That was Jade to make it, that was Jade Association for Debating and Empowerment.
This is
I
where
said it
we
real
Jade.
fast. I said it real fast.
You work with Jade.
So, without further ado, I call to the stage Anna, Prime Minister. Give us that speech, Anna. Let's hear it.
Go, Anna.
Hello? Okay. Thank you, panel of adjudicators, for the floor. We've been given the resolution that this House will ban all fast food.
Here, here.
And we are proud to affirm. Today, my argument is going to do two things for you. First, I will lay out the harms of fast food. And second, I will give you an analysis of the overall productive capacity of the state, giving it a twofold distinction between citizens on the one hand and society on the other. But first, a round of thank yous are in order. First, to my partner for helping me craft this excellent audience. And of course, to the lovely audience, South Seminole. But with that, some definitions are in order. By this House, we mean Congress, and by fast food, we mean the common sense definitions such as McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, etc. The criterion for this round is maximum benefits, and with that, let's dance.
Here, here. Here, here, here.
Now look, fast food will harm your wife, your wallet, and your wilderness. Argument number one, the harms of fast food. Now we told you it would harm your wallet. You will spend roughly $200,000 in your lifetime sucking down burgers, milkshakes, french fries, only to lead to things like heart disease, increased risk of stroke, obesity, and all kinds of other things.
Here, here.
$210 billion is how much those indulging in fast food is costing this country on healthcare costs. In fact, those indulging in fast foods are going to be in the hospital hooked up to machines, needing medicine. Your life is all messed up. And who's paying for this? Your wife. Not only do the production and sales of fast food harm the population that indulges in it, but also those around them. There's a tremendous cost to those to foot the bill for the medical care and absenteeism of those indulging in fast food with their health problems. Subpoint B. The consumption of fast food takes the enormous toll on the environment as well, due to livestock animals like cows, pigs, chickens. In fact, the agricultural industry is the #1 producer of methane and #2 in CO2 production. This means animals, plants, and air quality are being damaged. And guess who is paying for all of this? Society. And when we say society is paying for it, that means that it's only someone else and their wife paying for it instead. So, what have we told you thus far? Women have had the burden of taking care of you when you were a baby, and they certainly should not have the burden of taking care of you after a lifetime of poor decisions of chomping down on burgers, fries, the whole deal. And with that, let's move into my argument number 2. An analysis of the overall productive capacity of the state. Subpoint A. A good society meets the needs of the people by providing goods and services. So this means food, medicine, education. Subpoint B. But the ability of this society to meet these needs depends on its citizens being productive. Subpoint C. And we've already shown you that people who indulge in fast food are going to be less productive than people who don't. They'll be in and out of the hospital due to things, as I mentioned before, like heart disease, obesity, increased risk of stroke, all of which are caused by a lifetime of indulging in fast food. Subpoint D. So, when you compare two societies, one with fast food and one without, the more productive will be that without fast food. And because we ban fast food, we maximize benefits, and that's why we deserve your vote.
Here, here.
The leader of opposition to give you a speech opposing the resolution. Let's hear it for opposition leader. Here.
Honorable House, thank you for this opportunity to speak in front of you. We have heard from the opening government about my wife and my wallet and the wilderness. I think that was the third one. For which, let's be frank, none of you here have a wife. None of you here have a wallet. Your wallet is in your parents' pocket. And therefore, the things that we're talking about here, in a different setting, in a different audience, that may be relevant. So I want to put to you today that whereas we are debating about maximum benefit, we have not yet adequately seen how taking my McDonald's is maximum benefit to me, and therefore maximum benefit to you. And because of that insufficient grounds, how are you going to put a widespread ban on fast food? What right or jurisdiction do you have to do that? I think as we talk about maximum benefit, since this is the criterion on which we are working on, maximum benefit, we would like to propose the counter to maximum benefit. Keep my McDonald's, give me my fries. How about reducing the sugary content in drink, but still have drinks? Yeah. How about, yes, how about still giving me that Big Mac juicy fries, but use less oil in preparing it? How about giving me the fries, but use less salt in making it? Before I take that point, what I'm therefore saying is that if the government is so concerned about maximum benefit as a criterion exists in a context in what makes me happy. And if my fast food makes me happy, find a way to keep my fast food and make me happy while having it.
Yeah. The fat, the oil, and the grease. Are we even still talking about fast food in today's
Now that may be a good point. We may even be talking about an even faster food in its preparation. But let us get real with the situation at hand. No, I did not say get rid of it altogether. What I did say was reduce the content. Red shirts, black shirts, khaki pants. Guys, girls, understand. Anything in excess will kill you. Water will kill you. Too much oxygen can kill you. Too much sunlight can kill you. Therefore, what we are seeing in opposition side is that don't predispose us to an excess of the thing, but a reduced amount of the thing. So, I want to shift a little bit to a possible proposal for the consideration of the government. And that is, rather than putting a widespread ban on all fast food. Let us consider what would in some amount of context be my second point. That is, institute a widespread institutional exercise program. 2 points on that. First point on that is many things can be free. We know that in some sense, and from an economic standpoint, nothing in life is free. But the government, rather than easily putting a ban on fast food, could, in a context for society, create gyms that are free access to each and everyone, or within schools, institute certain mandatory exercise programs that will help to keep us in shape and form. And we think that in the context and the world of maximum benefit, that should be an option that really gets you maximum benefit, gets me maximum benefit. Why is it that it keeps me happy? So, from the opposition standpoint, as I lay that foundation on the context of reducing certain harms or certain nutritional groups that are harmful to our health, and secondly, institute exercise programs in the school for maximum benefit towards happiness. My deputy will delve deeper into the points so far. But how dare you ban our fast food?
On the other side, we got nothing. On one side, we don't want fast food. On the other side, we want half of the sandwich instead of the whole one. We say eat half of the sandwich and exercise. The other side says don't eat any of it. You'll decide. But now it's my job to call the member of government to the stage to give us a speech about banning fast food. Let's hear it for the member, James.
Thank you, South Seminole. We on side government are proud to continue to affirm the resolution that the United States of America will ban all fast food. Not be fooled by side opposition in today's round. They want to put the wool over your eyes by claiming that they still have fast food in their world. But notice, at the point at which they argue that they're going to get rid of the harmful content of fast food, they're arguing on our side of the house. And I'll explain that a little bit more later. But first, let me offer a round of thank yous. First, to side opposition for an excellent speech, to my partner covering me for this excellent response, to our lovely adjudicator for adjudicating today's round, for that none of this would be possible. It is a pleasure to debate in front of you. And with that, let me answer the question the leader of opposition posed. He asked, what right do we have to get rid of someone's McDonald's? And I ask you, South Seminole, what is the #1 reason people go to the hospital in the United States? It's not because they breathe too much oxygen. It's not because they drink too much water. It's because they eat too much fast food and suffer all of the harms my partner already talked about in her argument #1. That is, they suffer from obesity, they suffer from all of those things that are endemic to having fast food in the first place. So, side opposition, no thank you, sir, sit down. Now, side opposition tells you that they can solve for all of these problems by simply reducing the amount of sugar, the amount of fat, and the amount of oil. We on side government accept reducing sugar, fat, and oil. But when you do reduce sugar, fat, and oil, you no longer have a McDonald's Big Mac. Instead, you have a healthy, grade A steak burger that's actually good for people. At that point, you no longer have a Burger King Whopper, you have a farm fresh burger. Chicken sandwiches. Now notice, audience, we aren't asking you today to get rid of all of the foods that you like. We're asking you to get rid of those foods that are going to put you in the hospital in the future. All of the So I ask you, if they want to implement exercise programs, why can't we implement exercise programs? Because even if you have all of the programs side opposition is talking about, when you do a comparative analysis of the two worlds, of side government on the one hand and side opposition on the other, by banning fast foods, the people are going to be healthier, they're going to be more productive, and they can still receive all of the benefits that side opposition talked about with respect to exercising. And it's important to note here too, that side opposition predicates the existence of fast food in their world by saying people can exercise. I ask you, how is your grandma in a wheelchair going to be able to get up to exercise off the calories that she got from her burger? How is a baby or a 3-year-old going to be able to exercise? The problems with fast food are endemic, and we maximize benefits on side government because we get rid of it outright. And when they start to argue on our side of the house by getting rid of the content of it, we automatically win this debate. That's why we deserve it.
So we got two sides on the table. You've heard from the member of government. Now you'll hear from the member of opposition. We call the member of opposition.
Honorable educators, members of this honorable house, schoolmates, good afternoon. Now, before I go into my substantive, I must first and foremost point out that the government is the government for a reason, because they are all here proclaiming what we call fake news. Telling us that, first of all, that it's a very high cost for fast food is fake news. As a matter of fact, Bloomberg would have told us that fast food is one of the cheapest food source in the United States of America. And so what you're saying about fast food being too expensive for the ordinary American citizen is quite what we call false news. Now, Mr. Speaker, in going forward, I'd like to address some of the fallacious arguments proposed by the government, and let's just tear down their arguments. Now, first of all, they have came here and spoke about is it fast food if it's not greasy? First of all, it is the mentality of the government that fast food has to be greasy. I believe that Chick-fil-A can be less greasy and still be good for consumption. I believe that Ladies and gentlemen, what the government is trying to do is run away from a problem. What the opposition is trying to do is solve a problem. If you think it is too greasy, let's use less oil. If you think it is too sweet, let's use less sugar. Let's use more water. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of things we can do instead of banning something that you cannot fix. Funny enough, I have a question for the government. Because we have a lot of car accidents on the road and a lot of people die by car accidents. Are we going to get up and ban cars? Now, going into my substantive, first of all, people, everyone here is a part of the working class, we'd like to believe. And so if that is the case, ladies and gentlemen, it is very easy. It takes approximately 30 minutes on average to get fast food, whereas you'd expect someone to cook every day that takes at least 2 hours. Now, if you want to increase productivity, it means that people that has to take more time to cook, it means they have less time for their jobs because they are more, it means that they have less time to deal with their family. It means that they have less time to deal with work. If we want to increase productivity, then we have to keep fast food, because this is what makes our workers happy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us also carry you to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Sit down. Let us also carry you to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. First of all, we need to understand that as it relates to the hierarchy of needs, once a worker is happy, then he will produce more work for you. Do you believe that? And so if you are happy, then you will be more likely to do school work. If we don't have fast food, then people will be unhappy, then the economy will be at a disadvantage. No.
Fast food, and that they don't have time for a properly cooked meal, but yet how would you discuss the lifespan that is so shortened?
Thank you. No, I'm about to give you that. Now, first of all, we're not trading time for health because the opposition leader did say that he wants to instill an exercise program which takes some time. And so we're saying, ladies and gentlemen, that if you have an exercise program, for instance in Jamaica, we have Jamaica Moves. If you have the United States Move, then everyone will have set days where they are expected and encouraged to go out and exercise. Ladies and gentlemen, the problem here is not the fast food. The problem here is inactivity. And we're going to solve the problem by making sure that the United States citizens are active people. People who exercise regularly, who eat regularly, and this may even include fast food. Have several seats. Now moving on. This also disrupts our economy. Because if we're supposed to ban all fast food, then a lot of people won't have jobs. Have you ever thought about that? As a matter of fact, Bloomberg would have told us that America has over 300,000 employees within the fast food industry. Now, what do we do with 300,000 persons being unemployed at one sitting in one go if we are supposed to ban unemployment? It means, therefore, that the same persons you expect to buy food and cook will not be able to afford groceries, Mr. Speaker, because you'd have already taken them out of their jobs by banning the industry of fast food. Another thing that we're seeing is that we're going to give a counter policy to the government. We're not going to put a band-aid on the wound. We're going to stitch the wound so it does not reopen. It means, therefore, that we are going to ensure and put a policy to ensure that the fast food places have vegan meals, vegetarian meals, and we will also instill laws on them where they are not allowed to use a certain amount of food and hormones within the ingredients of our meals. We want healthy meals, active people. Banning fast food is not the way to go. Thank you.
We're going to do short final speeches to let them sum up their point, then we'll come down and talk to you. Okay, so 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Summation speech. Coming up. Here's a quick summation speech. Listen to the member of God. Let's hear it. Hear, hear,
So, we've had a fantastic debate today, but I'm going to demonstrate for you the 2 reasons why we maximize benefits on site government and why we deserve your vote. First, look to what we're actually doing on site government. By banning fast food, we create a healthier overall population. And as my partner told you in her first speech, when we create a healthier overall population, we also create a happier, more productive population. Why is this important in today's round? Because side opposition is trying to tell you that they can get the benefits of having things like fast food, but simply get rid of the harms of the fats, the oils, and the sugar. But the problem is, one burger is too many burgers when it's made with the kinds of fats, sugars, and oils that are being made in places like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and Burger King. That's why we ban them, because we're going to create a happier society overall, because we'll be able to make more things for people. We'll be able to provide more goods and services, and we'll be able to have more educated people too, because people will be more involved in school, they'll be more involved in their jobs, and we're going to have an overall higher standard of living in the United States. Don't let side opposition fool you by saying that the remedy is to have people exercise. Because obviously we all know they can't mandate people exercise, and they can't even have people who are disabled and in wheelchairs exercise in the first place. We solve for all of the problems of fast food by simply getting rid of it. And that's why we deserve your vote. Thank you.
So if we're supposed to take the government's mindset, if fast food is a problem, get rid of it, well, children that give trouble, let's kill them, let's get rid of them. Is that what we want? So here's where we're going, right? First of all, he's spoken about a higher standard of living. First of all, getting rid of fast food will not result in a higher standard of living. He has not equated that with any sort of evidence to say that that will happen. And as a matter of fact, actually banning fast food will lower the standard of living because we will double the unemployment rate of the United States of America. That is something that we do not want to happen. He's also talking about a healthier, happy community. Ladies and gentlemen, banning fast food does not equate to a healthier and happy community. Because first of all, you can still make fast food at home. You can still, you won't be healthy essentially because, you don't be happy essentially because you're not getting the foods that you want and that you're used to. And as a matter of fact, he said that we want healthy, unemployed people because I frankly don't think it's best to have healthy, unemployed people. What we want are active people, healthy people, people who enjoy what they eat, and as a matter of fact, we want an economy that thrives off our fast food industries. Ladies and gentlemen, we have told you the harms of banning fast food. We have told you what we have done to help the fast food industry, to make our people healthier. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why opposition deserves your vote, because we have the solutions to the problem, not to ban fast food. Here's to Chick-fil-A and McDonald's.
Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll go out to a table and we'll talk to tables.
All right.
Okay, so here we go. Remember how we started this conversation. You're members of a democracy. You are having to discuss and debate among yourselves about different sides of an issue. The issue here was ban fast foods. And now you all have to vote about which way you want to go. Yes? You have to vote about which way you want to go. So we're going to go to each table. You all tell us which way you want to go. I'll give you some observations at the end. I'll allow Jermaine to give you some observations at the end. We will finish at 2:30, and you'll have time to move on to your next class. So let's start with this table here. How did you all vote? Did you like to ban fast food or don't ban? Ban. Oh, it's split. We got don't, we got do. We got don't, we got do. This table. We're split too? Okay, so group, this is interesting. I'll explain what happens when a So we got a split vote. We got a split vote. Here. It's okay. We have two tables who say don't ban. We have two tables who can't come to a vote. Yeah, and I guess we'd have to add you all up and then figure out how many goes, how many say don't ban. So if the don't ban is more, you end up not banning in this case. Right? So the don't ban will win. Let's imagine we had an entire split chamber, right? We had split, we had split, we had split, and we had split. Can somebody tell me what happens when you get a split house? Yes. You do what? Huh? Say what you do? Good. What happens is the bill gets kicked back. It goes back to committee. It might go all the way back to committee. It might go back over to another it gets kicked back, they end up negotiating. You might end up getting 2 bills from 2 different houses, and those bills get reconciled. There's a process called reconciliation. So you might get 2 bills from 2 houses, they reconcile the bill might get kicked back all the way to committee, and committee has to start all over. The point is, when you have a split house, you send the bill back and something will happen. Maybe it's reconciled, maybe it goes back to committee, but that's what generally happens. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk something about this particular debate. Jermaine loves this part. I will give you about 4 minutes worth of talk. I will turn it over to my great friend Jermaine Barrett from Jamaica. He'll give you about 4 minutes worth of talk, and then we'll move on. So, okay, so here we go. Look up, look up, look up.
All right, guys. All right. Listen up, listen up, listen up.
Listen up.
Was that fun?
Yes.
You enjoyed that? I started done, all right?
All right.
All right, so let's talk about some of the things
Get to the
that
table, Jay. So,
we took on a challenge our team did. We decided that we could have done better than they did. Right? Yeah, we thought that the argument, we could have improved
It could have been improved.
and done a better job.
Good.
That's a good idea. Some of the things that we learned, and one of the things that we learned was that every single argument needs to be developed, needs to be explained
Yes.
to make it persuasive. Right? So for example, on team proposition, I presented them from proposition and opposition, or the agreed side and the disagreed side.
Yes.
Right? The claim that fast foods are unhealthy, we need to hear how is it that fast foods are unhealthy in better detail, right? And the claim about how we're going to implement an exercise regime, we needed to understand how is it that exercise gets you to become more healthy, right?
yes.
They assumed that we knew these things, right? But what if we did not know? Would we have been persuaded? Would we have been convinced? Guys, we're not sure? Alright, good. So the first one we learned is, right, so the first thing we learned is that an argument needs to be very well developed, right? And we also learned again that as a debater, you have to identify what your strong arguments are and work on those arguments. So some of the claims and the counter claims, right, that we heard on both sides, right, we thought that maybe these didn't really advance the case, or these didn't really push your stance on the matter too much, right? And so we thought that maybe presenting one argument and spending a lot more time working and developing that one argument or those two arguments would have done a better job at convincing those of us who are in the democracy.
Yes.
Very good?
They're here.
All right, these are the 2 points that we came up with, bro.
Okay, so notice that there are multiple ways to think about what happened. Jermaine was talking to you about the arguments that were articulated by individuals. So he's thinking about what did they say while they were on the stage. Yes? We're good? Okay. So in this case, he's inside of the debate thinking about who said what and asking himself, did they do it well? Okay, so you're inside. You might zoom outside of the debate. All the way out. And then ask yourself, what are they arguing for? And were they beholden to what they were arguing for? So let's walk through this for 1 second and see if they're beholden to what they're arguing for. One side is arguing ban fast foods. And effectively what they're saying is, you must ask yourself, are they arguing ban all foods or fast foods? So surely they're not arguing ban all foods. Then ask yourself, are they arguing ban all hamburgers or just fast food hamburgers? Just fast food hamburgers. Yes? They're not arguing ban all hamburgers. Okay, does everybody see that? So that's the position. Ban particular kinds of food that fit in the category of fast food. Okay. The other side said, all right, we don't want to ban fast food, but what we want to do is make the food better. Yes? We want to take out the grease, we want to take out the sugar, we want to make the food healthy. So then you might ask yourself this, if this side is arguing, we want to give you healthy food but not fast and this side is arguing, we want to make fast food healthy, you might ask yourself if they ended up arguing what? The same thing. Yeah? So that's an external position where you're looking at what they were doing or what positions they were supposed to be debating, as opposed to taking the internal position, which Jermaine told you about, and asking yourself what they did. Of what they did they do it well? Notice that you could look on the inside and vote about that. You could zoom out on the outside and vote about that. But these are twists and turns that will happen in the debate that you as a member of the democracy will be thinking about, because when you're reflective, it will determine how you vote. Yes? Yes. Okay, so we want to thank you, South Seminole, for being an excellent audience. Let's hear it for yourselves, South Seminole. Debate team, let's hear for Rollins! Now it is my pleasure to turn it over to your assistant principal, Mrs. Reed. Let's hear it for the principal. Yeah! We'll give you an opportunity to participate at every level. You might be a debater, in which case you get to present your ideas. Who wants to be a debater? Present their ideas. You're in. Let's go. All right, come on up. Don't worry, it's gonna be good. She's on my team today. Now, I have a partner. Jermaine needs a partner.
I need someone.
Who wants to get her? Here we go. Now, since I am debating and your name is? Kaylee and I are debating, and Jermaine and Melena are debating as partners. We need a topic.
Yep.
James, do you have a topic for us?
How about this? This house would get rid of standardized testing.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, so we're arguing get rid of standardized testing. They're arguing keep standardized testing.
Just for clarification, standardized testing is like FSA.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're getting rid of that. We're getting rid of that. It's gone. Okay. You want to write your notes down?
Yes.
All right, let's give them a pen. Thank you very much. There you go. You can write your notes down.
Wait,
Yes, just write down what you want to say.
okay, so,
Okay? So, Jermaine, we'll let them develop their ideas. James, you're working with her on developing her ideas. I'll talk about this. Okay, now it just got exciting. Two of your very own South Seminole Academy students have entered into the democracy. They will be representing ideas. On one side, they will be representing the ideas of getting rid of standardized testing. On the other side, they will be representing the idea of keeping standardized testing. Now, there's a catch. Notice that, okay, so we're getting rid of it. Okay, so you'll speak first? Okay, good. Notice that I tell you that they will be representing ideas. This means we might think that you should get rid of standardized testing, but we're representing that position for those of you who agree with us. For those of you who disagree with us, we're giving you reasons why you might agree with us. And on the other side, they are representing the idea of keeping standardized testing for those of you who agree with them. For those of you who disagree, they're giving you reasons why you might agree with them. Either way, you are members of the chamber. As a member of the chamber, your job is to listen. Listen to what's going on. You know what standardized testing is, yes? Raise your hand if you know what standardized testing is. Right? If you know what it is, what is it? Standardized testing, did you tell us?
It's like FSA, reading, and math. So they know the
They know it. They know the test. Yes? Okay. So you'll listen to us. And you'll think, that's a good idea. Here. And then you'll listen to us more. And you'll think, I don't like that idea. Shame. You'll participate in the debate by articulating your agreement and your disagreement. Sometimes you'll bang on the desk. Sometimes you will clap. Sometimes you will yell, here. Sometimes you will yell, shame. And the chamber will be rich with ideas. And then after we have debated the ideas and you have articulated your agreement and disagreement, the debaters, we will all break down and we will go to different tables. When we come to your table, we'll talk with you about what you liked about an idea, what you disliked about an idea, and you and the people at your table will debate the ideas back and forth a bit. And then after that, you'll come to a group decision as a table, and you'll say, my table votes yes to get rid of standardized testing. My table votes no. We believe we should keep standardized testing. If your table is split, your table will abstain from the vote. So you'll say, we're split, we couldn't come to a decision. So you have options here. Yes? Now, who's ready to hear about standardized testing? Who's ready to hear? Oh, whoa, South Seminole. Let me hear you. Who's ready to hear about standardized testing?
Here.
Here, South Seminole. All right. All right, the debaters are warming up a bit. Wow. You ready to roll? All right, Jermaine, you ready? All right, come on up. That's it. Yes. It's the whole shebang. It's time to represent. Okay,
Don't problem now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I need some papers. You take all the papers you got? I got no papers. I'm good, thanks. I got no papers, okay, and who's calling? Call it? Either one of you.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You got it? You sure? You sure, James?
All right.
So,
Ready?
we're ready to dance. We're warm.
All right. I'd like to call to the stage the Prime Minister to offer a speech not to exceed 5 minutes. Let's hear it here. Go Jay!
So here's an interesting fact, boys and girls. We hate standardized tests. We were just like you a few years ago in school, and we didn't like to take tests. We know how you feel, but we have come to a point of appreciating that although we don't like how we feel, in the same way nobody likes to go to the doctor and get medication, we feel that it is important. And it is in the importance of it that we're going to communicate to you so that you understand why it is that we must keep it. Standards are important in order to help us to understand and to appreciate what are the outcomes in an educational process. What do I mean by this? If we have a system that is designed to take you from a point of ignorance to a point of enlightenment, you need to understand whether or not that system is working. Do you agree?
Yay!
All right, well, let me help you to understand. So, we need a metric, a way of assessing whether or not, when we're teaching math, when we're teaching science, whether or not the key concepts are being appreciated. Now, they're going to come and tell us that, oh, kids learn in different ways. And it's unfair to give them multiple choice to assess whether or not they have appreciated math and science and English. We appreciate that. But we say to you that there are different ways of administering standardized testing. Yes? So we think that, for example, just today we were at Rollins College and we had a class where everybody was given a buzzer and they participated in an activity and the teacher was able to determine whether or not a key concept that was supposed to have been taught, whether or not it was in fact learned. We think that that follows a standardized way of assessment and we appreciate that. So we're all for diverse ways of teaching and assessing what has been learned, but we say the standard has to be a part of assessing the overall efficacy of education. We say, why is this important? We believe that we live in a globalized community where every single one of you are competing with people in China, in Russia, and in Germany. If we don't know whether or not the educational system is working, then we cannot say whether or not as a society we're advancing, whether or not we're developing the innovations in science, whether or not we're becoming excellent at mathematics. These are very important, ladies and gentlemen. And so, again, I want to end with this point. We don't like to have to study, to stress out ourselves, to do a test. None of us like it. But it's a fact of life that we have to accept, because assessing education and assessing the outcomes in the educational system is a vital part of moving the society forward. We thank you.
All right, let's hear it for the Prime Minister. All right. The Prime Minister has given some excellent arguments for his position. But we haven't heard the other side of the debate yet. And so, in order to offer us the other side of the debate, I call to the stage the leader of opposition for a speech not to exceed 5 minutes. Hear, hear.
My first objection is that it doesn't always show us what we learn.
Here, here, here,
Make it like know what we know, but it's not always like that. Just because students, like when it's time to do it, students easily get forget and stuff, and it doesn't always show on paper.
here, here, here.
My first point
Yes,
is
yes.
that it gets really stressful at the end of the year because they're preparing for our next year and stuff, and like for 8th graders, like high school. So it's like these tests don't really always, I guess, help us in that Then testing, things are better like art and music and etc. Some students can do it better by like performing and like.
Right, so we think that the stress that we experience in school, all being created, it's important to build character and build resilience for life.
Yes.
My partner, yeah, he has something better. So y'all finally see.
So notice, you guys got to see one of your very own fellow classmates debating up on stage, exchanging ideas, being part of the democratic process. So now, we got both sides on the table. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, can side government keep the momentum going? Or has side opposition defeated them? Let's hear the answer to that. I'd like to call forth the member of government to the stage to to make a speech not to exceed 5 minutes. Here.
So, as my first point, I would like to point out that without standardized tests, we can't tell if our educational system is truly working. We need a way to point out the flaws, to make it more resilient. We need a way to improve our education for the benefit of students all throughout the state.
Here, here.
And while they also mentioned that testing can be stressful for students, it is important to learn how to cope with the stress, and we can test students in ways that don't stress them out. We can support them. We can offer a hands-on evaluation for things like science. We can have an activity planned, and teachers will be able to evaluate if students are retaining all the information that they learn throughout the year. Without standardized tests, we can't tell if students have taken away any information. Let's say that a student did not take a standardized test. All the teachers think that they've learned everything that is to be learned in that grade. If they move up and they struggle, they are going to be set back from where we need them to be, and that is why we need to keep standardized tests going. Without them, we can. There are so many things that are just going to start crumbling.
All right, South Seminole. It's time to dance. Sorry.
He's already decided my thunder. All right. I'd like to call to the stage to finish this debate off for us with the very last speech, to enable you guys to hear the full scope of both sides of this issue, the member of opposition. Here, here.
It's time to dance. First of all, I want to thank Team Proposition for giving us an excellent speech. Most importantly, however, I want to thank my partner. She was articulate, she was on point, and I am going to show you how she has already won this debate for us. If you believe that what my partner said was not sufficient, it's okay, because I am going to give you additional reasons for believing that we ought to get rid of standardized testing. So let's walk through this position nice and slowly. Team Government tells us that we need standardized testing so that we can know that our students are learning. There's a problem with this. Standardized testing fails to capture the learning of students. My partner told you this. There are many ways, first of all, that they don't even test for. Let's imagine you take an art class. There is no standardized testing for art. This means that they haven't even tested you for something that you learned. So they don't even know about it. Secondly, not only are there many things that you learn that they don't test you for, there are many things that they test you for that the teachers never teach you. So you find two problems. So their problem goes in two different ways. There are things that you learn that they don't test you for, and things that they don't teach you that they do test you for. I'll get to you in a second, sir. The second reason for getting rid of standardized testing is a psychological position called testing anxiety. Team Proposition tells you, oh, just work hard. That is equivalent to telling you to work off a broken arm. If you have a medical condition that makes you anxious when it comes to taking tests, then you simply won't be able to perform well, no more than a person with a broken arm will be able to perform well with that broken arm. Those people who don't suffer from test anxiety will perform better than those people who do suffer from test anxiety. And we see that this is a problem because it is unjust to give students one goal, graduation, but give them an opportunity towards graduation that bias some students over others. But you, sir, would disagree.
Yeah, how will you know that the students will better perform without standardized testing? How will you be able to measure their performance?
Oh, don't worry, sir. I want to draw your attention to something that my partner said. My partner said to you, wait for it. Dr. Small has something for you. And Dr. Small indeed has something for you. So let's move on to the something for you. Since they want it, I'll give it to them. Let me give you an example of multiple kinds of students and the ways in which standardized testing will hurt them and they can't possibly overcome this. The first thing to know is that standardized testing is premised on the condition that your intellectual abilities will be captured in the test. Notice though, a basketball player, when he shoots a basketball, must calculate distance, must calculate weight, must calculate force. When he's moving up and down the basketball field, he must calculate and anticipate where other players will be. The reason why I point this out to you is because in order to reproduce this, we have to download calculus into computers. But notice, a basketball player gets no calculus credit even though he is demonstrating by performance that he can calculate.
Hear, hear.
Notice that they give the student who can't calculate in performance calculus credit if he can do it on a test, but not the one who can do it in performance. So how might we determine where students are in their educational development? Well, I'll simply point out to you, students, your teachers have been doing this all their lives before standardized testing. Why do we need standardized testing in order to have those people who are experts at teaching you math, at teaching you science, at teaching you reading and writing and all of the rest of it to show that you've been able to do that sort of thing? In fact, when you test under different conditions, sometimes performance conditions, sometimes paper and pencil conditions, that shows variability. That is, your education will vary with your intellectual and performance abilities. And that's a far superior way to test you because it maps onto the psychological person that you are. And that's why you vote for us. Thank you.
All right. So, to close off the debate with a summation speech where no new information can be brought into the debate, I'd like to call up the member of side government to give the summation speech and explain to you all why they believe they won the debate. Hear, hear.
Hear, hear.
Now it is clear, boys and girls, that we started this debate with a strong bias. That y'all don't like standardized testing, and we appreciate it. If I'm okay with that. But I challenge you to put your minds in a space outside of your current realities and look at the system of education and appreciate what becomes of education without standardized testing. Let us appreciate the utility of this very much hated system of standardized testing. How do we measure? How do we determine? How do policymakers, how do educators know that mathematics is being taught and is being learned the appropriate way when we have kids going through the system, not necessarily grasping key concepts? There is nothing in their world that gets us that particular benefit. And we accept on proposition that is not a perfect system, but it is the very best system we have right now. The second thing we want is this. So, comes to us with a range of very insular, very myopic views on how it is that standardized testing is not effective. He tells us that a basketball player calculates how to score a goal and that kind of stuff. We say that that is flawed because it misses the point and the utility of standardized testing for engineering, for a whole range of other disciplines, which we believe on our side are vitally important in the world within which we live. We believe that we ought not to give up on standardized testing because of the important value it provides to improve the teaching process. So when it is that educators and policymakers recognize that math is not being taught appropriately, they go back to the drawing board and they redesign the curriculum so that you get to appreciate the key concepts. We think that that's an important aspect of standardized testing, and we want to stand with that as well. We don't see in their world how it is that we get these key benefits, and therefore we stand in support of a system we don't very much hate, but we appreciate the value of. Thank you.
For a speech not to exceed 2 minutes, let's hear it from side opposition.
Notice we didn't say get rid of mathematics and engineering. We said people that can do it will do standardized tests. People that can't, show that they can perform different ways.
Here, here.
Standardized test does not do what they want it to do. My first point is because it does not test everything you learn. It tests some parts of it, but not the whole grade. Standardized tests also test things that you don't learn throughout the year. So it can test things you learned that the teacher never got to it, so you're just reading things that you don't even know about. And standardized tests cannot account for different types of students, like medical issues. It cannot account for students with medical reasons and all that. For those reasons, vote for us.
Hold up. All right. So you guys have had an opportunity to sit amongst yourselves. So now, you guys have a job to do. You've heard the debaters do their job. Now your job is to vote and decide or whether we want to get rid of standardized testing. So let's go to this table first. How do you guys vote? For standardized testing or get rid of standardized testing? Get rid. Okay, this table is get rid of standardized testing. What about over here? Get rid of two tables against standardized testing. Let's go over here. Get rid of. What do you guys think? Get rid of. All right. We got four. How do you guys go? Getting rid of it. Okay. All right. It is a unanimous decision. The House voted, and we are getting rid of standardized testing.